your hand if you can hear me. Okay, good. Um, it was a very short break, yes? Did you manage to get coffee? I still see people getting in. Um, so thanks that you chose my presentation. Now I'm blabbing to wait for while people coming in, so trying to take the time. But let's start, because I guess I'll need to finish sharp. So actually I was thinking what to present this year, what experiences to share, and I decided to talk a bit about agile economics. Money is the thing that every one of us care, you know, and we have to teach or tell our bosses why agile is more cheap or more expensive, why the hell we are trying to change our organization. Change is very hard and it takes lots of energy, so there has to be a good reason to do it, yes? When I try, about myself, of course, most of you know me. I'm president of Agile Lithuania. All Agile experiences come from Lavasoft company in Sweden and then Adform company in Lithuania. Now I'm working with my partners to create a new company called WaterPay to enable all you to pay everywhere in retail, in restaurants, in gas stations with your mobile phones. So, and I've been using Agile in these companies, and of course I'm using it now. I am invited to some other companies to help them to understand what Agile is, how to use Scrum, what roles to have, so basically to coach. So I have seen quite a lot of projects, and today I'm going to first show you two basically projects, and one project and one which is quite old, and one is which I'm working now. Then I'll try to show you why I think it works for me, how I ground it in a theory. And then, as I mentioned, you will see some surprise. So it's quite tough schedule. I want to tell a lot, but I'll try to speak slow. I know I have a habit of speaking very fast. So as soon as you don't understand what I'm speaking, especially when I'm speaking English, please raise your hand and say, why does it go slower? You are cutting the ends of the word, which I usually do. Okay, so that was the introduction. I see quite a lot of people, so thanks for those who are joining. So let's start, real projects. Let's start with one in Sri Lanka. I see a guy, he was my previous colleague in Lavasoft in Sweden, so I bet you know some names and some people. These are the guys that are working. I had a project. I needed to do a project. We didn't have enough people in Sweden when I was working, so company decided let's outsource it to Sri Lanka. We signed a contract. We signed 5.5 resource to make a project. I fly to Sri Lanka, I go to the room, and there sits 8 people. I say, guys, you said I have only 5.5 resource, which we pay for. Yeah, this is 8 people. So you can do the math why it is like that. Resource and people, but it's different things, yes? What did we have? We have a project. We had a scope that we want to make, of course. We had a schedule. My managers told, this is a very tough deadline. We want to get that project to the market on that day. And as you saw, we have 5.5 resource, or 8 people, how you want to say. So we had this, and that company was used to run projects in a linear manner, and they said, yes, let's sit for 2 months, make a very nice analysis what you need, then we'll do coding, testing, and after 6 months you will get your project. And my manager's deadline was 4 months. So I said, oops, that doesn't work. I said, let's use Scrum. This is a new thing. We work in small iterations, we do piece by piece, and maybe we'll make it faster. And they didn't like it at the beginning, but because we are paying money, we managed them to force use Scrum. It's simple. Who pays money, that can enforce other company to use some method. What happened? We ran first sprint, and they are trying to show me results of that sprint, and I look like this guy. Actually, nothing worked, nothing was connected, and it's definitely not what I was expecting that they would do, all team, 5.5 resources in 2 weeks. So we started discussing how we did planning. Did we really understand did you understand what I wanted from you in this very small iteration? Of course they didn't, because they were used to all traditional processes. They thought that first we do analysis for 5 days, then we give the guys to develop something, then we will test it then, and of course sprint is short, so this didn't work. So we discussed that you have to work more as a team. Second sprint was slow as well, but third, fourth, we got speed, and we got that like the turtle with rocket. So actually everything went pretty okay. Jump forward to the end of this project. The results, we get it on time, There were a few minor bugs at the end, but they didn't stop us to release. We didn't have any major things to wait, to stop the release. I asked them, how did you feel after the project? They said at the beginning, for the first sprints, we felt like this girl. We worked overtime, we were stressed, and we thought, oh hell, this is a crazy project. From the first sprint, we are working overtime. You know, usually you do that at the end of the project, but this time it was on the first sprint, second sprint. But actually at the end, they looked like this. Because when they learned what is their speed, how they work, third, fourth sprint, they were working normal hours, they were doing the job, and the last sprint was just finishing the feature and preparing it for release. No hack or crash or whatever it was. As a project manager, I flew back to Sri Lanka. I took 2 days off, so I had a first ride on elephant. So you see, it was a successful project, yes? So where all this drives to the topic. You understand, they were used to work in this analysis done before, then development, then testing. As we would imagine, it would be the most cheap way to do the project. You analyze everything, you implement, you test. I forced them to work in opposite way, to work in a closed team, to do all the features in very, very small batches. So we had one feature and they had to analyze it, implement, test it almost at once. I even forced them to create installation package from the very first iteration. So when they made us one feature that just 3 servers made a ping, it has to have an installation package that a ping feature must be installed on 3 servers. And of course that installation package then evolved. So what did we get? The results are obvious. They said it will take us 6 months to do this project. We did it in 4 months. So I say that we saved some money, and in the why part, I will try to show why I think why that saving can be done. Let's take another project. It's currently what I'm doing. We are implementing this system, we call it ecosystem, where we actually have to integrate banks, merchants, loyalty programs, other wallets to enable you to pay with your mobile phone. Of course, when people look at our company, they say, oh, you're doing the app. Everyone is doing apps today, so it's just an app to develop. But of course, you don't see that there is a big system behind it, which has full management, everything that has to be tracked. Of course, it has accounting on top. Of course, it has reporting. Of course, it has all APIs. So that's a big backend that I have to build. Moreover, we are integrating with point of sales terminals. It's where a waiter enters your order. I ordered a beer, she goes there and enters that you ordered a beer. So that's because we have that connection and we have to, of course, maintain it. And moreover, our final goal is that your financial institution, meaning your bank, your mobile operator, we already agreed with one, I just cannot tell the name, you open that app and you pay from basically your payment institution. So again, we have to maintain all this, of course, connection. So back to the point, where it all leads. In normal situation, you would hire experts to each the job. You hire one mobile development expert, some app developer. Oh, wait a minute, we have at least 2 operating systems, yes? So we need at least 2 guys, one that would develop for Android, one should develop for iOS. And I see Tautvida sitting here, he should say, you need a 3rd one to develop for Windows, of course. Yes, we didn't do that yet, so we're saying it's soon, it's coming. But anyway, 2 or 3 people here, yes? Then we need a backend developer to develop all the backend system. Oh, that system has accounting models, so we have to have someone who understands how bank works, how transactions are made, how all that works. Oh, we have a lot of APIs, so probably we need a good expert, the one who is implementing all APIs correctly, so they're scalable, so that we can change them fast. So as a startup, basically, you're running into this problem that you need different experts. And as a startup, you want to be very efficient because we don't have enough money yet. So what to do? Of course, what to do, you read interesting books or what people did around you. And there is a book called Lean Startup, or actually All Movement now. It says simply, you have to have build, measure, learn cycle, which means you build something, you measure the results, you learn from the results, and you build something again. And the point is that that cycle has to turn as fast as you can. If you make it very short, you much better learn what you did. Either did you a good feature or bad feature. To do that, there is only one option. You get people who are a team and they have to do everything. If we want to enable you to get your discount from a mobile app, it means the discount feature has to be implemented in an app, it has to be implemented in API, it has to go to the point of sale terminal, and all bank applications has to be able to accept it. And I still have discussion with my managers if this is the most efficient way for me to run this project, because they say maybe let's hire real experts of each area and work with them. But I have people who can actually do all parts of the work, and they do it. And with pretty good quality so far, so I have the results. So again, coming back to our topic, tendency is to have experts, and this seems to be the cheapest way. But if you look at the result, how fast you can get it, what you can get from the results, what the output can be, it looks like having a cross-functional team working from the day one. They do kind of help. We together do the analysis and development and testing. I test, of course. So this is the best for us. And it seems it's cheaper than to do it opposite way. So the main question is why? Why it happens when we have to finish? 12:10. Okay. I want to leave time for you, so a surprise. So I'm keeping my time. Why? There is a simple story, actually, which I found and I put to my head, and I think it works in every situation, so you either can believe it or not. We are told from the very beginning that our job is to optimize each resource. If we want to be efficient, we have to optimize each resource, which means that every person has to work the most efficient way he can. Is that true? Who agrees that if we want to be the most efficient, we need to optimize each resource, each person, each printer, each computer, each... No, you disagree. You know too much. Anyone else? It's hard to say, yes? Yes, that's the common thing which we think. This should be you optimize each resource, all the system is optimized. Let's see what happens. This forces you to put people to departments, so they have experts, so they can learn from each other, they have departments, and then the process goes back and forth to implement what you need. So if we optimize each resource, what we get? Each resource, department or person, wants to get bigger and bigger batches of work. Why? Because if I get a big batch of work, like someone analyzed idea which is worth of 3 weeks of analysis, I spend a week of implementation, I'm really focused on that implementation. If I split that to 10 small projects, a day, I need again to implement something small, read something, implement, it seems inefficient. So trying to optimize each resource leads us to having larger and larger batches of work. I always ask testers, do you want to get full feature finished and then you test it, or you want to get it in 10 small pieces and test it every at a time, and of course retest what was done before? So no, it's lots of rework, so actually we want to get as bigger as a batch of work as we can. Then we produce a very big bug report, of course, to send it back, yes? That's a natural cause. What happens then? If we have bigger project, it means I finished 3 weeks project, and now I don't have nothing to do. There is another big project coming after 2 weeks. What to do for 2 weeks? Of course, we start working on second project. If we have, and as bigger batches you have, as bigger I/O projects, as more you want to multitask, because you have huge gaps in between. You cannot allow people to sit and do nothing, correct? A developer cannot come at work and say, I finished top priority project, it's stuck somewhere else, so I do nothing for 3 days. I wait until it comes to me. Now you take a second project. If you got stuck in second project, you take the third project, and that's how it goes. So optimizing each resource leads to large batches of work. This leads to multitasking, and this eventually leads to bugs, rework, going back and forth. I put nice pictures here so you can smile a bit, but that's kind of the reason. Either bugs, either many rework, because we are working on few projects and everyone knows that multitasking is really, really not efficient. So based on the rework, if we have something inefficient, of course we want to put a lot of procedures. We need to optimize this work, yes? We need to write down procedures, how to test, how to run development. The developer has to really implement something, use coding standard, and things like that. More documentation leads to optimizing each resource, which leads to larger batches, which leads to multitasking, which leads to rework bugs, and more documentation, and we have this vicious cycle. So, does it sound like truth, or is it just my vision? Truth. Is there anyone in company that can recognize this pattern? There is one at least, that's good. And others are like really thin and silent. I don't know if raising a hand will be a good thing or bad thing. If it's Niels, he will start picking on me like as that Bluebridge guy, and then, oh, bad. Okay, yes, actually it's true. That's how most of companies do. Why? Because we look at definitions. If we look at manufacturing definition, it says manufacturing is making process of goods, especially in large quantities, by industrial machines. And when you look at project, it says temporary initiative or activity that produces a unique result. Very two different things. Yes, many with machines, something in short term, giving a unique result. So where I'm going with this, anything we start doing, we can look at two scales. First one is requirements, what we do, and then technology, how we do it. And if you know what you're doing, how you're doing, it's simple environment, then you get more complicated, and then it's anarchy. You are far from knowing what you're doing, and you don't know how to do it. So manufacturing, I always claim, is here. It's simple. You have a copy, and you make thousands on the same TV sets. But the project is actually always here, because it's always unique. If you're making a software, we are trying to force ourselves to think that we are in simple environment, but reality hits us again and again, and we are in complex environment. Why is this? This is, and here are the startups and research, but I'll skip this. So the linear process that we have been taught and optimizing each resource perfectly works in this environment. It's built for this environment. But if you're in project environment, the only thing that works is empirical model. And this is not me who I'm saying, it's all research proves this. If you're in complex environment, empirical model works. If you're in simple environment, defined process works. So the question is, when you have a project, are you trying to force to think that you are in simple environment or you are in complex environment? So what do we need to do in complex environment? We need to do the opposite, just simple as that. What means not optimize each resource, but optimize the whole? And what basically Niels was saying, putting people together in a team in a networked environment. If we're looking at Agile cross-functional team, it's a network here. People are sitting and trying to do things together, meaning having an idea and then putting it to production as fast as they can. So if we are trying to optimize the team, not the person, all the team, or if we were going to go further, we want to optimize all department, not one individual team. It depends how far you go. It forces us to having smaller and smaller batches of work. Because if batch of work is big, then this guy analyzed it, and then developer has a big gap in the team. I mean, he cannot do anything. But if you split a feature to 10 small sub-features and you implement test, there is lots of communication. Communication becomes very fast and every day. This is what happened in Sri Lanka project. This is what happened in my current team. What happens, and of course, Adform is example where all the time this happened when we put people to cross-functional teams. What's from that? If you have small batches of work, that enables you to ship and finish those batches of work very fast because you have very clear focus. We are testing only login to system functionality with successful case without all forget password functionality and anything. You finish it, you focus, you test, analyze, test, implement, release, done. So you have a focus. If you have focus, it means you don't have a lot of bugs. Usually if you release early, you get more money or at least more happy clients. It's the output. And if you do that, you still need documentation and procedures. Sorry, guys. If you want to do Scrum, Kanban, or XP, Extreme Programming, right, there are rules and you have to follow. Of course, often we do how it goes. We do iterations, or we have a stand-up and then we say we do Scrum, but that's not a Scrum. If you really want to do Scrum or Kanban, it's hard to do it and you have to follow. So procedures, I think, is still there, but they are to enable you to optimize the whole, which should do small batches of work, so minimizing the work. It helps you to focus and it helps you to bring results. So basically, to sum up what my two projects examples are, and this is the theory, this is how I base it in my head, and I always think that I'm in project environment, in complex environment. It means I have to follow empirical model, and I have to optimize the whole. And if I start here, the wheel starts turning this way, and I go faster, faster, and faster. it's very hard to prove in real cases, so that's why actually, and you say, oh, Vaidas is talking again in Lithuanian conference, how boring it is, yes. I'm happy that you still come to listen to me. So what I wanted to do actually to make a surprise tonight, other people, other projects to discuss, so we have about 15 minutes. And of course, as we had a basketball championships just nowadays, I invited our Lithuanian basketball team. There should be a smile and laugh now. That was a joke, of course, they're not here, I didn't manage. But we still can have a question. Was this team optimized as a team result or for each individual player performance? Why did we got those silver medals in basketball? We got silver medals, I bet you don't know. No, but Sweden basketball, what? Okay, so what do you think? Our team, what did the coach do? I optimized for all performance or that Linus would score the most points as he can? Linus actually did pretty bad in this game. Yeah, he didn't score too much, but we won silver medals. What is the result? I think this proves the point. But yeah, basketball is boring. Let's go back to the software. So I would like to invite on stage two people. It's Mantvydas Čekutis and Vaida Masiulionytė from Affecto and Hnid Baltic. They had few projects and they ran them a bit differently. So I have few questions for you guys.
Hi, I already told you this once more.
Hello, my name is Mantvydas. I'm from Affecto Lithuania, and I work there as a division manager. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, I am Vaida Masiulionytė. I am from Hnid Baltic, work as a project manager, also participating in Agile Lithuania activities as a board member of Agile Lithuania.
Yeah, so as we have 15 minutes, we will try to have this improvised discussion pretty fast. And afterwards, of course, when there's a coffee break, you can grab us and have more questions. But let's focus. I asked you to think about one specific project. We talked, so can you just shortly introduce that project, what it's all about, and how many people was there, in just a few sentences?
Okay, do we have people from Poland here? Okay, then I can tell a joke. I actually did an Agile project in Warsaw, in Poland, and somehow it just reminded me something what Vaidas was telling about Sri Lanka. So it was an IT system implementation for insurance companies, so it was quite a huge project. We had for a stage about 2,000 man-days to implement not all the project, but to go live with the first stage, and yeah, we chose an Agile approach.
2,000 man-hours, you said?
Man-days.
Okay,
yeah.
So quite a big project. Okay, implementation of software. Yeah, good. I'm just trying to wrap up what you said, just to think if I heard what you said.
Yeah, it was an implementation.
Implementation project to 2,000 man-days. Very nice. Your project?
Yeah, our project is public project. It has to be well known to everybody. It's Fire and Rescue Department project, and its duration was more than 1 year.
Public project, more than 1 year. How many
Yes.
people were working on it?
For the all-time 4, and to some joining us not for full time, it was something like 8 people. My colleague is sitting here, so I'm just checking if I'm not lying with the numbers.
Different times from 2 to 8 people
Yeah.
During a year. Okay, so let's get back to Mantvydas. So what did you do differently from that traditional model? How did you organize the team, and if you talk about teams?
Yeah, there was quite a few things we did, but most probably the most important one and the hardest thing for people to adapt was that as we are implementing a system which is quite big and you also need to have quite a specific knowledge, what we previously had, we had an area experts. So we had people who knew sales, accounting, products, claims, and things like that. And actually what we did, we put them into a team and we said, now guys, you will work together, and if needed, you will help each other. And especially in the beginning, everybody was unhappy. Like, come on, I know products, I work fast in products, why I should do some accounting or claims? That's just a waste of time. But after 2 or 3 months, everybody noticed that it actually helps and it works.
Okay, let's keep the results for a moment. Yes, so you put...
Oops.
No, good. Your change was that you put different type of people to one team to work together from the very first day. People that have different expertise.
Well, there were lots of changes, but I think that was one of the biggest challenges, yeah.
Cool. What about Vaida's project? How did you
the
manage your team?
biggest change is like if we talk about public projects, so it's classical waterfall. First half-year analysis, then architecture, development, and so on. And here we started development at the beginning. We said we will do it according Scrum method. We were learning, but that was the biggest change.
Okay, and
we
how? Yep.
switched 180 degrees from traditional to Scrum in public projects.
Cool. And if we talk about the focus of the team, so how did you organize the team? I think you had few developers, yes?
Yeah, we have 2 developers, and they were covering like architect role. I was like covering some analysis and little bit developing user interface, so it was cross-functional team.
So you're saying your developers was writing architecture documents which
Yes.
which they didn't do before?
Yes, it was
But that's very
first
inefficient.
time,
They should
yeah.
code. They're writing some
They did it in
documentation.
rotation way. It was not the most wanted job to write documentation, so the documentation was writing that this functionality you document and this functionality you document. But it was not hard because you have not to sit and write like for the 3 month only documents.
Yeah.
What you code, you just write.
Did you force them to test? The developers.
Not forced, it was like naturally.
Naturally. Who has in a company developer who naturally likes to test?
It was.
Oh, we have few. That's good. But what are the rest? What are your developers? Naturally do not like to test? Strange
because-
things happen. Yeah.
We don't ask them that, please test everything now. If you write some functionality, small piece, it was like after some time it became natural that I check what I have written.
Interesting. People need to check what they have done.
Yeah, so
good.
it's like,
Good. Very nice. I like it very much. Okay.
Can I
Yeah?
collaborate on that?
Yeah.
Actually, we have a huge problem with that in my division, because actually, as a division manager, I'm responsible for utilizing resources. Yeah. So.
Yes. We are going back to the utilize resources, optimize each resource.
So what is happening now? Actually, I have testers, really good testers, who at the moment I can't utilize them.
They don't have what to do.
Because teams simply they don't need them. I mean, they are joining in the beginning, helping, sharing some knowledge, putting processes in places. And out of 4 testers, now I have only 1 who's in the project. So from Monday, 3 of them are going to the development course.
Wow. Look, company doesn't need testers anymore. How strange is that? Okay, let's get back to the project. So why, just not to go jumping to results, yes. So why the hell did you choose to make such a huge change?
Most probably we understood one thing is that when we come to the client and we start to work with him, we don't know a hell what will be the final result. On top of that, we don't...
Just a second, but you implementing this was not first your system implementation,
No.
so it's the same. It's just another insurance company, so Lietuvos draudimas, Polish, whatever, draudimas.
yeah, but it turns... and actually we needed time to find that out as well by ourselves, but they're all different.
Okay, they do.
And on top of that, the client itself, he doesn't know what he wants in the end. I mean, he doesn't know what will be the final product that will satisfy him.
So you hope to fix it with iterations and agile.
Yeah.
Perfect. Why did you choose run it in Scrum?
yeah, because with public projects, when you showing documents to the client, they are not IT specialists, especially if you show the architecture or something like DB structure for them, maybe it's okay. They don't really understand what would be the real result. And if to come to the result, it was like,
Wait a minute, I'll come now to the result. Okay,
It
so
was-
your reason to
yeah,
choosing was that client doesn't
yeah,
understand
I can
for
say
you
the
is this.
same as reasons
Perfect,
like mine.
perfect. You see, people realize that their projects are in complex environment. I think that's basically the case. Okay, so everyone wants to hear results now. Yes, Vaidas is keeping them. So what are the results? How was the project? Did you finish it? Did you finish it on time? Is there anything, other good things out of it?
We didn't finish it on time as we planned. Yeah, but I think we did quite good. And the most important thing is that after this project, which was like from planned 6 months, it was 2 months late. So let's put it this way, it was fine. We have a team which is now perfectly working with that client further. I mean,
So coming about results, as a manager, do you think and consider this project as successful? Would you like to continue using the same methodology, or it's, I mean, waste of time because all your experts had to help each other and not do the expertise work? So it should be like really inefficient.
no, it is efficient because you know, when you have a complex project like that, and if you will try to do that in a linear manner, you will have even more problems. You will have problems anyway. I mean, Agile is not a silver bullet, but Agile itself will solve all your problems. But in any case, it pays off.
And just ask one, how was your client? Was he really helpful from the very beginning? If I may, of course.
I mean, client and most of the clients, I mean, it's not something bad to tell about them. They also do have such understanding that we came to the company and we are the ones who should implement them in the system. And we can, you know, close ourselves in a room and give them a final result that they will be satisfied with. So most probably that was the biggest advantage with them, to talk with them and to prove them that we need them.
And to involve in
we need
each
together to come up to a result.
Perfect, thank you. What about Vaida's result?
Yeah, the results were really good. And if to talk about clients, so Vaidas won't let us lie because our client was making presentation during the Agile public sector event, and he was really happy. And was the one phrase he said when we were at that final testing already to giving the project, and he said, please show functionality to our technical reviewers, revisers, not to us, because we have seen everything already.
Okay, perfect. And from money perspective, a project, was it on time? Did you
Yes,
hit the
colleague
budget?
sitting, yes.
No over budget?
No.
So it was not more expensive to have
No.
developers to write technical specifications. Interesting. Okay, so thank you guys a lot. We have still like 4 minutes, so I'll wrap up and you can think of one or two questions for me or for them. Basically, my idea was to say that, and of course I didn't prepare that slide, but I'll try to jump very
Questions,
fast.
yeah.
Sorry?
Slide with questions.
No. I wanted to go to finalize with this one basically because I think this proves the point. You see, we had a public sector project. Like mine projects, we don't care, yes? It's Sri Lanka, it's other world, Vaidas, he's doing crazy stuff anyway, so don't believe him. Let's believe these guys. Vaida has a public sector project and they realize that this is in complex environment and they managed to run public project in iterations. They managed to enable or force or ask people to work in cross-functional team, and they say it's successful. Mantvydas had implementation project, which we all assume that it's just another implementation, but probably it's a bit different, yes, and you realize that you're in a complex environment, putting team together, and you both claim that this is cheaper, it's not me. So I often get that question, how to prove that a project is more cheap or more expensive if I use one or another method. And I'll tell you the secret. If you read any comparison, this is bullshit. Why? Because let's go back to the definitions. Here you are doing the same result over and over, so you can prepare. I made one TV set in 3 hours. I made the second TV set exactly the same in 2 hours, 58 minutes. I saved 2 minutes. Here, every time you're doing something unique. So how you can compare that this unique project was faster than this unique project? Because it was completely different environment. So when we compare projects, basically we are making some false assumptions and comparing something, but in general, theory would say you cannot compare projects. That's why to draw any numbers, which I assume you wanted to say, Vaida saved 22.1% using Agile, it's impossible. Of course, we can lie and do that on slides, but it's impossible. My way of weighting if I am getting projects faster and cheaper is my managers or like colleagues' feeling. Like you're now the manager and you know that I have a feeling that if I would run that project another way, it would have been faster, longer, more expensive. If my manager tells, wow, this is good, you're getting features faster, it looks like you're optimizing, then I say I'm doing projects, I'm in complex environment, that's why I say it's cheaper. So thank you both a lot. Thanks everyone. And if you have any questions, I think we have a few minutes. So that was all what I wanted to say.
Okay, any questions? Yeah, I have mics.
Now you
in
are
other
the
role. Yeah,
coordinator
I
of
have
the
switched
tracks.
another
Okay,
role.
let's switch the role. Anyone has a question for me, for Vaida, or for Mantvidas? Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to go with mic that everybody will hear.
Hello, one question to Vaida maybe. How you managed to attract and involve the people from governmental organization into your project? And if yes, I mean, how engaged they were? And what kind of support they gave to you? Because we all know they used to like wait for the final results and then just make some kind of tick box and evaluation.
Yeah, it was that
You can come
after-
here now. I can be the guy with the microphone. Let's change the roles.
I don't have microphone. So, yeah, we had such thing that we were coming to the client and we were showing results. And for the first, they were just looking that, okay. And we made 2 working places and said, we will come, we will make 2 working places, and during 1 or 2 hours meeting, you will go and try that system. And for that, we will send you a link and you could start trying. So they tried the system, then we sent a link, they did nothing for some time, but then they started to test every time, and after that, we were going every week or every 2 weeks to them. They said, we have some comments to that, some changes and so on. So at the beginning, we were like, not proposal that we will come and you have to try. It was no drastical or something like that, but it was like that. Okay. More questions? Okay, 1 minute.
So I was wondering, what was the biggest obstacle in moving from doing big scope development to small scope?
The question is to whom? To Vaida. Look how good this is. You invite a few other people and you don't need to talk. Perfect.
Okay. So the question was how to move from big,
Challenge.
the biggest challenge from big obstacles to small ones.
No.
The big scope, it was like some fear at the beginning because everybody was thinking that it's the big project and everything, how we can focus on that small piece. And in one meeting we said that forget about everything to the team and just focus on that one team. We will take care that I and my colleague who was product owner in that project, we will take care about other scope, and you focus on that small piece. You know what is the goal of the project, and now focus on that piece. At the beginning, it was fear, and it was not the first sprint working. It was something like, if we just focus on this, this is not good. Some psychologically it was. But after that, somehow, with the practice or something, it switched.
Okay, I guess.
So, yeah, I think it's already time for our other speaker to, how the sound is here.
Now I'll have to share the towel with Mantvidas and Vaida.
Yeah, cut it. Please cut it in 3 pieces. Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
Vaidas, for your presentation.
And thank you, Vaida and Mantvidas, a lot.
And
We will go to sauna with one
couple
towel.
minutes break if you want to switch to the other halls, and then we will welcome Ahmed to his presentation.